What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Wheels Forgotten YouTube channel. Today you can see we have made some progress on our 95 Land Cruiser. I've gone ahead and taken those running boards off. They were completely rotten. Have the whole interior pulled out of it. Console, everything, all of the seats. My lovely assistant over there is working on pre-treating the carpets. You can see there's quite a bit of funk in there. But I'll tell you something, fellas, this thing is coming back pretty nice. Cleaning up pretty good. I think with some hard work and some scrubbing and some labor, she will come back around. I'm worried about this headliner. It doesn't show up that great on camera, but it is disgusting. But I've got to have the seats out here. As you can see, they are covered in mold, mildew, but we'll bring that right back around, no problem. This middle row is probably the worst. The back of these seats are pretty terrible. Went ahead and also started working on the front end. Pulled that bumper off, the grill off. Went ahead and found my power steering leak. It was in this cooler right here. They all call it it's known as the paper clip. I went ahead and looked at some plans online and got all kinds of stuff to make my own cooler. New transmission line and everything else like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this radiator out and pretty much the whole front dress off the motor. Replace all the vacuum hoses, lines, coolant pipes, new fluids. I got a new power steering pump for it, clean up the reservoir, all new lines there. Pulled the valve cover off. That's over at the getting powder coated, hopefully today. All new gaskets for the top side. Basic tune-up stuff, plugs, wires, air filter, intake gaskets. Gonna rewrap that harness. Apparently that's a common issue, them getting too hot. And need to make a new set of hoses and clamps. I don't know what the hell that is. That's for the heater valve or something, but I've just never seen something so ridiculous with this in and out, in pipe and hard line and hose and out into hard line and back into hose and into the valve and then back into the engine. This is just, I don't know who came up with that, but that's just completely unnecessary. So maybe we'll come up with something for that. And as you can see, like I said, down here, I already did this piece mostly. Cleaned up really well. Shifter boot cleaned up well. Just using some citrus cleaner, some citrus degreaser. It's a little less harsh on plastics and rubber and things like that, but it's a good cleaning agent. And just using one of these Pro Elite Boar's Head detail brushes to work it all in everything. And that's in comparison to what this looked like. Basically, I haven't done this one yet, so I don't know how you can see that, but the little before and after of what it looks like. Probably gonna go ahead and respray that bumper while it's off. Got some Hella lights for the front, I think, kind of make that look a little cooler. I gotta figure out something to do about these running boards. The factory, they're molded right into these fender flares right here, and as you can see, the mounts broke off. Well, this is not this one, the one over here. Yeah, they're actually attached to the doors too, and you can see the mounts basically rusted right off. It's really the only rust on this truck was, well, that thing won't go into focus for me. The only rust on this truck was right in these floorboards and these mounts. So I got to pull that out of there. I'm thinking about just taking the Sawzall or the jigsaw or something and just trimming this right along this line here and pulling this out, and when this door is shut, it'll follow the body line better. and that piece, this piece right here, won't be hanging down, which is where it had a little trim piece that mounted. Same thing down here. Little trim piece came down here, the floor, the running board. So I don't really want to replace them. I can't find them anyway. It's a factory. It's the way they came from the factory, at these fender flares and running boards on them already. Little dent in this bumper. Hoping that I can, it's plastic, so I'm hoping I can get up behind here, heat this up, and just push this out and make this look a little nicer than it is. It's not going to be perfect, but definitely get that knot out of there. Went ahead and put new lift struts on it, so that opens up nicely. I got to do some research. I don't know if these things came with a carpeted liner in the back. This one didn't have a carpeted liner. It had like some carpet remnants that somebody got from a carpet store and cut and put in here, and they're in the trash. So I gotta see if they made if there's a piece of carpet that goes back here. This is just how they came. I don't know. Went ahead and pulled these seat mounts off and have them in the back there. Just shot some black paint on them, cleaned them up. Do the same things with the front in a minute. Just haven't got that far. But you can see this is probably the worst of it. I believe it had a water leak in here, either through this window or the window in the front there. And it may have been caused by these drains, and these drip channels were all full of crap. So we clean those out and see how that goes. Also, the Land Cruiser badge, it broke off, and I've just been kind of picking at this here and there. This is just not cooperating whatsoever. So, got some Goo Gone and some other things, but it's just not making a dent in it at all. I figure out how to get that off of there. But that's pretty much where we're at right now. I'll join you guys back in a couple minutes when there's some more developments, or I'll probably start working on those seats and see how they turn out. And welcome back to part 2 to our 95 Land Cruiser. Interior detail, exterior detail, refresh. When you last joined us, I was showing you that we were heavily working on the inside of this vehicle and trying to get it as nice as possible for as little money invested as possible, and really just some good old-fashioned time and elbow grease. Everything you see that I'm going to show you that I've done today is all done with fairly inexpensive tools and not very exotic products. Not here to push or sell anything. I'm just going to show you what was used and how I used it. Over here is the third row jump seats, and outside of the impression from the seat belt there, these were the ones that were in the close-up that you saw earlier, and they have come back really nice. I feel that impression with a little bit of heat and some time, pop right back out. Leather will come back just fine. These have virtually no use on them. I mean, they may have been used once or twice in its life, but they've pretty much been in the folded up position for most of this vehicle's service life. And as you can see, pretty much all of the mold and mildew is gone. We've got some dirt or some abrasion from the seats being folded up in their mounts where they were. Maybe somebody drug something across that, loading it in the truck. We're going to address that here in a little bit. I just want to start with that and show you that. Gone ahead and taken the rear bumper end caps off. That nasty dent that was on this side that I showed you earlier, I was able to heat the bumper up, push that back out, a little hammer dolly work. Got it pretty straight. Gonna do a little bit of filler work on it, clean it up, and just respray these in black. Put them back on. It'll make it look 100 times nicer for, once again, very little investment. Simple things like this you can do. I did have to drill the screws out that were in underneath. They were rusted solid to the U-clips that were in there. Just going to go ahead and replace those with new ones. Not a big deal. Maybe I'll come back here and take a buffer polisher to this, try to clean. This is all aluminum, so this should come back pretty simply. I'm going to just take some brake cleaner, hose this off, and just spray a little bit of rust reformer on there. You're never going to see it, but I just want to just touch it up while it's out. Clean it up, stop anything from happening. Drop the tailgate here. All this, other than some dirt from me standing on the thing, all cleaned up well, vacuumed it, steam cleaned it, extractor. Sorry, I didn't steam clean it. Just did a spray down with some soapy water and scrubbed it with a brush and used the extractor on it and vacuumed that all out. You can see the back of the rear seats here. Once again, all cleaned up, demolded, demildewed. Went ahead and pulled the grab handles off. Gonna clean them in the sink here in a little bit. They were pretty filthy. There are 6 of them, plus those little corner ones as well. I believe that makes 7, 8, 9. There's 10 total in here, believe it or not. 10 grab handles in this thing. I'll show you something what I'm doing here later. I took a cardboard template and made of this, and I'm having my local carpet store just make me a piece that's going to go in here and sit in here. The OEM ones are unavailable, and used ones are, people want crazy money for used ones and they're in terrible shape, so I sent a color sample over and made a cardboard template, and I'm going to have my local carpet store do it, and do that pretty efficiently. I went ahead and polished the stainless trim piece here, as you can see. There was some rust and corrosion on here, cleaned it all up, put it on a polisher that I borrowed, got from a friend, and that came back pretty nicely. And you see coming in here, this is the passenger seat. It's come back pretty good. Again, I feel like it's had very little use in its lifetime. There's a little bit of checking in here, but not torn up, not cracked. Some conditioning, I think, will bring this back nicely. Again, I just scrubbed these really good. Cleaned them with several different types of non-aggressive cleaners. Mostly just soapy water, guys. Hot soapy water, scrubbed it down. A little bit of leather cleaner, leather-specific cleaner, and then in the state you're seeing it now, it's got some conditioner on it that is soaking in. Same thing with the dash. Clean this all up. Came back pretty nice. I went ahead and, as you saw, I'd pulled this console. All of this came back great. Cleaned up all the black, reconditioned everything, cleaned up the console, the bezels, inside, outside. Went ahead and repainted the bolts that were in the bottom. It's got some color dye peel coming off of this. I guess this is actually vinyl and not leather. Leather usually doesn't chip like that, so that's a shame. Nothing I can really do about that. Door panels came back nicely. I see all that mold's gone. All that mold, all that dirt came back great. It was all up here on this trim too. Again, cleaned all that off. The worst part I have right now is, again, the headliner. This is actually, believe it or not, like a solid fiberboard headliner. This is not like most car headliners, which is fabric stretched over foam and then glued to the surface. This is pretty soft. I don't know exactly how this is put on here, but it doesn't feel like it's a foam back style headliner like I'm used to. So it should be able to take a little bit of more aggressive cleaning. I have a steam cleaner on the way, an actual steamer. I'm going to try that out because, as you can see in here, there are some spots on these rear seats that didn't come out, like here. And there's a couple more over there. And I'm hoping that that will solve the problem with that and those third rows back there. And I can use it on this headliner to bring it back a little. You can see one spot right there where I test cleaned versus the rest of it, which is dirty. This section I did hit with the extractor to see what it would do. But all in all, guys, this has come back great. If you paid attention to the first part of this, you can see how bad this was. The next step is going to be addressing the issue of stopping that from happening again. I think we need some rear window seals. You see up here, some of it's coming through. I think this is where most of our water intrusion was coming from. These seals right here, if I can find them. It doesn't actually seem to be coming through the sunroof. But there you guys have it. Hope you guys enjoy this. If you did, if you could like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. Drop a comment down below on what you think we should do with it. Stay tuned for part 3, where I go into the mechanicals of this and we start addressing the power steering and all the other odds and ends. And this is just going to be basic tune-up stuff. Nothing crazy or radical here. So get this thing running right and see what we end up with. But hopefully you guys enjoyed that. We'll see you next time here on Wheels Forgotten.